the truth.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. I am Army Piper. This is the Piper Academy Network, and this is a sunburn from hell. Was out on the boat yesterday. Appreciate OC covering down on me, guys. We got a little bounce off of the golden pocket point of control here on the chart, giving us a little pump up into the platinum pocket, but we're getting a retracement right now. We're going to talk about that level. And then, of course, you saw the thumbnail today. It's Bitcoin mooning, right? What is this all about, Piper? Well, I'm glad you asked, alumni. Let me tell you about it. There's an article talking about if Bitcoin can break $110,000, we could be shooting for $170,000. We're going to be taking a look at that. It's a video, not an article. We're going to take a look at that. We're going to talk about XRP and Ripple with BNY. That's the Bank of Mellon of New York or something like that. It's big bank. It's a big bank in New York. Been around for a long, long time. So looking at that today. And then we've also got, of course, some market updates, macro data, stuff like that. Nothing big this week coming out, but looking over at the crypto bubbles, guys. Crypto bubbles are definitely giving us a, hey, look, green on the daily, but we're getting this pullback on the hourly. What does this look like for the markets today? Meanwhile, the stock market absolutely ripping off right now. The NASDAQ sitting here. Let's go right there. US, yeah, NASDAQ up about 1% right now. I guess about 0.82 if this is refreshed. So NASDAQ pumping off today. S&P, a lot of people calling for even higher highs to come. So we're going to break all that down and a whole lot more right here today on the Morning Market Report. You guys know what time it is. Everyone take your seat. Daniel Barnes, lock the back door. If they're not taking the seat already, you have to let them in as they come in. They can report to the dean's office. Guys, let's get it. Class is in session. Let's go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. Let's go ahead and get into today's show. I got my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend here, OC guy, and he muted for a second, but he's going to unmute. What's up, OC? How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing fantastic. Just trying to spare you guys from still battling with my coughing. I finally went to see another doctor, and I don't know what's up with this, but feeling much better. And I think we're ready to come back to trading with OC and take a look at a couple of new trades because I think vacations are over. Yay! I'm so excited, and I have my throat a little bit rest out. Still coughing a little bit, but I'm doing much better. But tell me all about it. Actually, I was asking you how it went. Did you sell the boat? Did you drove the boat? Did you I don't know, how was it? How fun? How fast? Tell me
Well,
more.
I
Tell me
wasn't
more.
selling because it was not a sailboat. It was a pontoon. It was tritune, actually. That means it has 3 of the metal tubes at the bottom. But yeah, so we're going great. Went out there on the boat, got there about 9, right at 9 o'clock. Went out on the water, beautiful day, supposed to rain, dropped it down to like a 15% chance for like 2 hours. So fantastic start, right? We go out on the boat and we're cruising around the whole lake, and I'm showing my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, some of the areas around the lake and stuff. We go over by this area called Red Barn. They got a bunch of horses out there usually. Good calm water, good swimming. Water was about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's an actual picture right there in the background of my boat. No,
I love
but
it.
so we go out. We're out cruising, right? Did some swimming and stuff like that. Going great. The my sister-in-law, after lunch, we stopped and parked at the harbor and went up and ate lunch at the harbor district, and then brought it back out. Went over, and my sister-in-law wanted to tube, so we went and got a tube. Long story short, at some point we get out to the swim area and we're setting up after tubing, and I'm anchored. I've dropped the anchor. We're anchored in place. Well, one of the floats started floating very far away. And the sister-in-law was trying to catch up to it. She's way out now, like probably 350 meters from the boat, trying to catch this thing that's even almost that far away from her. So I don't. All right, Zach, my son, ZTS Rhythm. You guys know him. I was like, pull the anchor up. Let's go and get her and get my, I'll leave my mother-in-law here. She's on a float. She's good. We'll go get my sister-in-law. We'll pick up that float. He starts to pull the anchor and it won't come up. And he's like, it's not coming up. And I'm like, you're not strong enough. Move out of the way. I start to pull the anchor up. It's stuck. The anchor is not coming up at all. It's hooked on something down there. Can't get it up. I leave it. I'm like, okay, look. All right, look. What we're gonna do is we're gonna, because there's plenty of line on the anchor. We're only in like 25 to 30 feet of water. I said, look, leave the anchor here. We're gonna tie this rope off, untie it from the boat, tie this off to one of the other floats. That way we can see the rope. We'll go get them. We'll come back. Good to go. I go out there. I go out there to pick her up, get the float. We're good to go. We got her. We got the float. Everything's good to go. And then the we go back to get the anchor, and Zach goes to pull the thing, and he gets it out of the water. Rope's still on there, and right as he goes to reach for the rope, it unties from the float and falls into the water. So, number of days without losing an anchor on the lake, 0. So that's okay. It was a $99 anchor. I had a great day. So I guess at the end of the day, a $99 anchor is not that horrible of a loss. I've had worse losses in trades. So there you go. Let's go jump over here and take a look at the chat. We got a lot of people in here rolling in with us. We got Little Fish, Dylan VA, Darren Does Things, Story Time with Pie Bear. That's right. What's up, DDT? How you doing, man? Crypto Trade said this man left the mother-in-law. I did not leave the mother-in-law on the lake. No, not going to do it. And the sister-in-law, I went and got her too. So, what's up, K Diggity? How you doing today? Alexandra G, the lovely lady of Los Angeles. How you doing today? Robert Mulligan, appreciate you being here. Trade Intuition, T.I. Joe. We're going to be redirecting over to Crypto Coin Mindset, Keith, and Trade Intuition right after this show today. So bingo bango, guys. Bingo bango. Harper's in here with us. Mike Play, dropping all of the emojis in the house. Baba Yah's in here. I see you, Baba. What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Harp at Crypto Coin Mindset. Daniel Barnes, he said, Roger that, professor, watching the door. And Ada Ace, guys, if you haven't done so yet, let me get this pulled up here. If you guys have not done so yet, you guys have got to go check out this dude right here. Check out this channel. Here we go. Let's jump over here, OC. There we go. Crypto Coin Ace, Ada Ace has his own channel. If you guys do not know, it's Ada_Ace. But he's got this new show started calling the Strike Zone. This is going to be his pilot video for it. And basically, it is trading trading Cardano, I believe, is what he focuses on in this with Hydra Drip. If you guys haven't gone to check this out, he's just getting it going. He's got some subscribers. He's going to be doing a weekly show, or it might be a daily show. Nobody know in the chat, Ada. But guys, go over there, give him a follow, and follow Ada Ace. Check out his new show, The Strike Zone. He's just, if there's anybody that knows anything and everything about the Cardano network and what this means, and so what it could do for this price action, it would be Ada Ace, man. Shout out to you. Just wanted to give you a little quick promo there, bro. But I hope that you get some people. What is it? 453 subscribers right now for Ada Ace, and then is there a channel for Strike Zone? It's daily at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. Nice. It's this channel here though, correct, Ada? I want to make sure that I got that right. It's not a new channel, is it, for this? Let me know. If it is, we'll change it up in the chat. We'll get it going. I got you, bro. All right, let's go jump into the news, OC. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat with us. Appreciate you guys being here. We got 23 likes, 33 viewers. I'm not sure how many of these. We got 27 over here on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys smashing that like button. You guys are on it today. Yeah, this dude married Cardano. Facts. Nope, it runs on his channel. Cool, that's it. We have summed that up and we have nailed it, OC, with the target locked, shots fired. All right. Let's go jump in on the news. I'll go over this stuff, OC, and we'll get that going. But before I jump into the news and break all that down, where are we at with Bitcoin right now? We got a little bit of a pullback. I'm going to give you the local price action update on Bitcoin, and then I'll go knock out the news. So what do you got for us, bro?
A few moments
Oh my
later.
god, I still not used to this. So sorry about that. So yeah,
Emotional
absolutely.
damage.
I completely deserve that. It's been too long. It cannot be that I cannot get used to it. I just think that I need a big red thing here that tells me you are muted, bro. So yesterday we left out at that we were expecting a little bit of range up there. Nonetheless, the range is happening a little bit lower down here, and we could be looking for a push through or rejection depending on how that range starts moving through, right? So my plan A basically was rejection to support on the dynamic reactor. We haven't seen that, but again, we haven't really taken out any major areas here. In fact, my alert at 109,900 hasn't been hit, and it still remains intact. So I set up this alert. So because that is the previous high, so when you hit it, maybe I can start jumping into a possible short back to my support area. Also, remember that if that plan failed, I will be holding it through somewhere around 111 and then coming back down to that same area. And then off we go. My entry in that case would have been at 109. So basically, just standing by again. Areas of entry as we pull back. Stay still standing strong, and the clock is ticking. It seems like now, under my eyes, it's turning a little bit more bullish than it was before, and that's because we have taken over once again the bullish part of the oscillator. Let's see if we don't turn around like we did in here, like that. If we don't turn around, if we don't have a flip of the ribbon, I think we have a very strong possibility to break through somewhere at 111, 112, coming back down our entry, and then off we go for our plan B. Remember, so still plan A, still is holding strong, still possible, but we'll see how that oscillator is developing throughout today and tomorrow.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah. And I'm watching some key levels there too. That 110, man, it's an absolute beast. So we need a muted emoji for OC. We have to have more members to get more emojis, but maybe we change out the OC guy logo for just muted, just a big red muted letters. I don't know. All right, let's go jump into the news and talk about that stuff, guys. All right, we're here. It's beautiful Wednesday. It is July 9th, and we are looking at a crypto market cap right now of $3.392 trillion. The trend line on this is coming in at about $4.035 trillion, currently undervalued at around 15.94%. Look at the current risk for Bitcoin. We are sitting in a risk zone of about 55.2%. And that 55.2% is a 2x DCA. Matter of fact, if you guys don't know, most likely days for sell-off in the markets for best days to DCA, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're just starting into that. Don't know that I would do it today, but I think we will get a pullback from this 110 level unless we can break it. And then if we do, what are we looking at? Maybe 170. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, let's go over and check out what we're seeing on Fear and Greed right now. Fear and Greed index currently sitting at 66. We are in greed. We are not close to that level of extreme greed yet, so I think we're still in the ballpark for some upside movement. Looking at the liquidations in the past 24 hours, 73,045 traders got liquidated. Total liquidations coming in at $163.1 million. The largest single liquidation order happened on Bybit. It was Bitcoin for $1.95 million. At least it's not 20 million. We've seen those, haven't we, OC? It's been crazy. All right, crypto bubbles. How are we looking, crypto bubbles? A lot of red on the daily. Let's look at this one. On the hourly, I should say, not the daily. Let's put you on the hourly. How are we looking on our mainstays? We're down on the hour with Bitcoin too. All right, so let's jump over here, take a look at the dailies, and we'll go down and scroll and see what the price actions look like. Bitcoin is currently sitting at 109,284, up about 0.5% on the daily, down 0.4% on the hourly. Ethereum having a really good run, 3.1% to the upside on the daily, down about 0.2. Other big movers, XRP up 3.2. Let's see here. Cardano up 4.5%, down 1.2% on the retracement for the hourly, but still up 4.5% on the daily, sitting at 61 cents. Ada, are you still shorting Cardano? Where you at with that? Let me know in the chat. you were shorting it there for a while and making tons of money. So SWE has moved up one position to number 12 from its number 13 spot. Bitcoin Cash giving up that spot, dropping down to number 13. Look at Stellar Lumen, guys. Stellar Lumens. And this is one that's in our DCA list. We look at this every single Monday on our Discord for a DCA entry, and it's up 14.4% on the daily, 24% for the week. After a little pullback of 1.1 this morning, still sitting at just under 29 cents, moving up one spot to number 15. This is probably on the back of that whole move with Ripple and BNY, Bank of Mellon, Bank of New York, Mellon, Bank of New York. Jesus, what's the name of this damn thing? You guys know what I'm talking about. We're going to talk about it some more. Avalanche up about 2.6% on the daily. H bar making a rally again, moving up. It went from 21 to like 20 to number 19 to number 18 now. It's up 4.5%, 16.8 cents. And then rounding out the bottom two, up about 2.4 to 2%. That's Shiba Inu, and Toncoin, Litecoin, still sitting at number 21 after giving up that top 20 spot. Okay, let's do this. A refresh. Make sure we got the most recent numbers here. Yep, Dow Jones up about 0.5% right now. S&P up about 0.6%, and the Nasdaq up right at 1%. It's 0.99%. Russell 2K, that's your small caps, getting a move to the upside, up about 0.67. And look at the VIX. The VIX is just chill today, man. It's just chill, bruh. 16 points on the VIX there, 4.58% to the downside. Blind Melon Bank. That's it. Crypto alt delete. Exactly. You nailed it. It's Blind Melon Bank. Yeah, VIX today, guys, means volatility is low. And so these moves that we're seeing, not a lot of volatility behind them, and they could continue on. Typically, you don't get washed out very hard when volatility is low. Let's look at Europe markets and Asian markets overnight. Europe markets were all in the green overnight. Asian markets were mixed. The Japanese market, the Nikkei, was up. That was about it. The Nifty 50, that's your Indian market, Shanghai, HSI, ASX, all to the downside. Bonds today, the 10-year treasury yield doing a little pullback, not a lot. No long setups now, A to A said. He's only long now. Perfect, bro. Appreciate the update. Good to know. 10-year yield, 4.377. This is our top side of this, guys. It moves up to like this 4.4, drops down to like 4.2, and it cannot seem to get any lower than that. So the 10-year treasury yield holding strong and not what anybody wants to see right now. So looking at oil, we are sitting to the downside after a little pump. It's at 67.9, $70 target range seems to be the resistance there. And then precious metals. Let's talk about this for a second. OC, you might want to get that copper chart ready, bro. Gold sitting at $3,314, down just slightly on the daily. Silver sitting at $36.63, down about 0.3 today. Copper is down 2.6% after a massive rally on some news that there was going to be tariffs on copper that was imported to the United States. This little pullback, nothing in comparison to what it has done. So OC is going to get that chart up for you, and we'll talk about that little rally pump that it had and then dropped again. So platinum sitting at $1,377. And look, Palladium's looking strong, up 1% today. We talked about this last week about platinum and palladium, and I said I'm more bullish on palladium than I am on platinum. Today we're seeing that little rally. Was platinum that moved, now palladium's moving. So maybe it's diversification of precious metals that you need to have. Who knows? All right, that's what we have there on all of that. Let's go check out the economic reports, guys. We did have the 30-year fixed rate mortgage come in today. The 30-year mortgage was at 6.79. It's now at 6.77. Meh, whatever. Update on my house for sale. Got a person that's very interested. They're going to look at a couple of more houses. May have a buyer for the house in El Paso. Let's go. Air horn for me. I'd like to get rid of 2 mortgages. Thanks. FOMC minutes do come out today. It's going to be at 1 p.m. my time, 2 p.m. on the East Coast. FOMC minutes from the last meeting. It's going to be the detailed verbatim report, what they actually said. Could get some data out of that later on this afternoon. We will see. And then tomorrow, we're going to get our initial jobless claims. This is going to be coming in possibly higher, according to this, meaning more people filed for unemployment this week. This is a weekly report, nothing major, but it does give us a little bit of foreshadowing on what we could see for other employment data coming out down the road. Core inflation rate is going to be next week on Tuesday. We don't have anything on Friday, guys. We're pretty much a quiet week on the economic front, on the macro front. Let's look here at what we're seeing for chances of rate cuts. Any updates on this? Let's give it a refresh. Flashbang. There you go. Shout out to Alex O Crypto. He couldn't go live today. He had an appointment for allergies. So shout out to Alex O. He's out there somewhere right now. Hopefully he's listening in. Looking at July here for the first one. This is going to be July 30th, our first rate cut chance that's coming up. Probably not likely. 6.7% chance that we get quantitative easing, meaning a rate cut. Right now, 93.3% chance of no change. That's a pause. Status quo. Continue on. Charlie Mike, 17 September, that's going to be our next rate cut after this. There's no rate cut in August. So we're looking at this one. It's holding about 70% chance of a rate cut in September, 30% chance of no rate cut. This has been very flip-floppy, up and down, up and down. So at this point, I think it's unlikely that we get it in September. I think the first one that's most likely is October, but even October is no longer sitting in the 90% range. Really, it's just going because they kicked out that August date of the tariffs. We're now seeing that continuation of uncertainty carry on into the following months. So, let's look at. Nope, we don't want to see that one yet. Yeah, let's talk about this. Is the Bitcoin bull run over, OC? This is the big question. Is the Bitcoin bull run over, or is it just getting started? Bitcoin's 50-week story highlights. Bitcoin has been making people nervous lately with price swings and multiple failed attempts to push past $112,000. Many are wondering, is the bull run over? Are we entering another bear market? But according to experienced trader Mag's analysis suggests that Bitcoin may be preparing for another major rally. Bitcoin's 50 weighted moving average, that is a WMA. If you guys don't know, when you see EMA, exponential, simple, SMA, WMA, weighted moving average, hints at a $130,000 level. In recent tweet, Mags pointed out that Bitcoin's 50-week moving average has long acted as strong support level whenever Bitcoin touches this line before it often bounced and moved higher. So chart highlights several historical buy signals when Bitcoin touched the 50 WMA and later surged higher. The only sell signal occurred back in early 2022 when Bitcoin failed to hold above the moving average. Since then, the 50 WMA has continued to act as a strong support line. And you can see right there what he's talking about. There it is, 50, buy, buy, buy. So that's what he's watching there. And he suggests that this is setting us up for another bounce to the upside. Of course, I think if it comes down to that level, might be an excellent opportunity to also dollar cost average in. So that's what we're seeing there. Let's look at this heat map and let's see what we're seeing on this. This is on a weekly. I'm going to put this on a higher time frame, like a 6 month, and we'll just see. Oh, that's a 3 month, sir. That's a 3 month thing. 6 months. We'll just see what the heat map looks like here for some levels below us, because when we get into these higher time frames, it's going to give you a bigger stretch of distance in the past, further back. It looks further back. So it's the look back machine, the way back machine. If it loads, that would be great. I'll go ahead and do this. We're going to bring this over. We're going to hop over to my chart. And if this thing loads, then we'll go with it. But if not, we'll come back and we'll take a look at some other things. So looking here at the charts, what I'm watching, guys, first of all, update here on, let's turn that off. Update here on the Caprioli hash ribbons, guys. We're sitting here in capitulation still not getting that buy indicator. Me and Buck actually went and compared back and forth on our different charts with his version of this and my version of this. His triggered a buy, mine did not, and it actually started looping back down again. So I'm not sure. I think the Caprioli that I'm using is a bit more accurate on how I set up. But we are seeing some signs of hope from Buck's chart perspective there. Crypto Princess, good morning to you. She said, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite Brit over there. Sorry, DDT. You're cool, but your voice does not sound like the proper British crypto princess. So what I'm watching here on this chart though, guys, that I just had on here, I want to talk about this. This is the Bitcoin halving cycle profits, okay? and give it a second to load. Can you load for me? That would be awesome on the weekly. Yep, there we go. So the thing to watch on this chart, and we talked about this a while back, that we were just hitting the profit taking zones back in January. Okay. If you look at this over each cycle, what happens here? We go back into like the first cycle back here in 2017. I think this one actually goes all the way back. It does. Look at 2013. We trigger this thing is based on 40 weeks after the halving. Okay. And you move up and you get these bands of profit taking. Now, it doesn't mean that in the hottest band that you're at the highest level. It's just saying that if you do this on a set basis here, okay, which is about, let's see here. This one here is 17 March to 3 February. So it's about 6 weeks in between on these. Um, and you take a look at what it has here, you do have a level where, yeah, you may have been taking profits here and you got that max profit, but as you were going into the heavier amounts, it price went down just a little bit. And then we hit a end of the profit cycle and it starts telling you, hey, here's your DCA time period for accumulation again, right? It's a pretty cool indicator. But if we go in and we look at where we are right now, we are about a little over halfway through. If we look at the date time frame on this, let's go into the date time frame, date range, put it there, run it to the end. Yeah, we're looking at about 16 weeks. So this says we got about 112 days. 112 days left before we hit that 112 days left before we hit the end of that. So 112 days from now, that's going to put us at like the 11th, the 21st of July would be the 12 days, and then 100 days after that, you're looking at a little over 3 months of July, August, September, October. Yeah, it's right in line with what we're typically see in a 4-year halving cycle. So something to keep in mind. We're about 112 weeks out, and what could this mean for Bitcoin? Spring OC up here with me, and we'll go over and check out some other articles that we're talking about here, because at this point, we have to assume that Bitcoin Bitcoin is no longer just that thing that maybe, follows this 4-year cycle and that's it, and forget it, hit it and quit it. Big Name Advisors says avoiding crypto now is a more speculative investment than buying it. Rick Edelman says it's irresponsible for advisors to not recommend crypto right now. And we're seeing this a lot more from the ETF launches and the adoption from the federal sides, right? Or from the institutional sides in finance. So this is our call of the day from Rick Edelman, veteran wealth manager and founder of the firm that became Edelman Financial Engines. He recently published a white paper called The Death of the 60/40 and why your crypto allocation should be 10% to 40% of your investment. Crypto is what he calls a once-in-a-generation opportunity for investors that most of the financial services industry is not acknowledging right now. And so when we look at this, I'm not going to read this whole article, but you can see the mentality is starting to move on even the percentage. It used to be, hey, 3%, 5% on high risk. Now they're talking 10 to 40% of your allocation of your investments should be sitting in crypto. Let's go back over and look at this. We got about 112 days left. We don't always come back and go to a lower range. Some of the ranges that we've had, and we've heard people say that the 2025 cycle is a lot like this 2018 cycle, right? 2017 cycle. So we could be seeing a much higher blow off on the top. OC, things like $500,000. Excuse me. Choked up there. But some the people out there are actually talking about 140 to 170. Let's go take a look at this. It's probably going to get us demonetized today. I don't care. It's about you guys getting the best data. So let's go do this. Let's talk about this.
Another look at another name that you like here, and that's Bitcoin. Now, if I read the notes properly, did you say 140,000 for Bitcoin? It's possible from here?
It's very possible with
Really?
upside from there. And I don't want to oversell it. And look, I'll leave the story to the pump, but I focus on the charts. And this chart is coiled like a spring here. Now, keep in mind, as many of these momentum stocks have surged off the bottom, Bitcoin's been doing yeoman's work of consolidating within this well-defined trading channel. But it is coiled, as I said, to break out and play catch up to names like Coinbase, names names like Robinhood that are already back
Right.
at the high. So a breakout above 110, which is last resistance, projects measured upside to 140 with upside from there to 170 as well.
Okay, I want to take another look at another name.
$170,000 Bitcoin is what he's calling here. OC, your thoughts on this, bro? And don't be muted.
Oh, I'm a
Don't be muted.
cheers.
Okay, good.
I say, oh, amateurs. No, not really.
Pump those numbers
I
up.
mean,
Those are
we
rookie
know
numbers
that.
in this racket.
Yes, please pump them up. No, but I mean, we know that is my craziest possible analysis, 500K. But I mean, I absolutely agree with him. I think that is going to be very possible. But still, we need to trade it daily, right? As we have a new candle, we are going to be taking decisions with new information, especially when we are on the 4 hours, in the 5 minutes, so on and so forth. It's not about just letting us convinced by one single news, but I mean, getting excited is just part of the joy, right? That we might be hitting new all-time highs, and of course, we buy a retracement and we sell at tops, right? That's how we do it. But yeah, in fact, I'm thinking something around 170 to 240 for this possible cycle if we have a big pump breaking this all-time high that we are into right now.
We are getting quite the pullback here. If we jump over here and take a look at the chart, we hit the 786. This is the level that I've been watching. This is my 786, 109, 052. We came above it. Look, I said last week, actually, it might have even been Monday. I said, if we come up and we break the 786, why are we not going to go grab liquidity here? Okay. That's what we just did. We grabbed liquidity. I said, if we come down and we can hold at least the value area high and get a bounce, then we should be heading up to grab this liquidity at the 887. Okay. That's going to be a 112. Excuse me. If we're going to do that, why are we not going to grab the liquidity that's at 112, right? And so the level to watch here, I really think is going to be this 110, 443. And that's what he's talking about, that we got to break that 110 level. This has been our resistance back here in May. This is our resistance in June. It's now our resistance in July. And every month we've come here and cannot break this 887 level, top of my platinum pocket, $110, $443. I just said we needed to come down and hold the value area high. And what are we seeing on the 4-hour candle there? It's pulling back up into it. So I do see that down here, if you look at volumes coming in, money flow is in the yellow, kind of flat, but in the yellow. Oscillator ribbon is coming up to the upside. Let's take a look at our daily oscillators here. Just see how Bitcoin's looking here. It looks like we're flattening out for another saddle run. We typically get these. You can see here it went saddled and then went up, went flat there, went up again. So typically when we get this flattening out, if the next candle isn't lower, it typically sends us to another run higher. And that's what happens over and over. You see here, we got flat here. It started going lower. We stayed static. Went flat here, come down, and we did get the pullback, but look back here. Comes in, I got to find a saddle. Where's the saddle? There we go. A little saddle there, and it came in for another run, and we have one more pump, and it came right back to resistance on all of that support. Well, right back to support on all that previous resistance, I should say. So I'm watching that right now on the histogram. We take a look. We did have a hidden bearish divergence, but look how flat the oscillator ribbon is. And we're actually even right now, it's starting to get a little curve up. It's starting to wave and give us, hey, we might get something here. Look at the RSI. We got a higher candle coming in here now, right there on the RSI Heikenhashi. So I think right now, if I had to put money on this, I would say we're probably going to hold support and get another bounce and go grab more liquidity above that 887. That's just my opinion, just one humble man's opinion. Could be right, could be wrong, maybe crazy, but just looking at what I'm seeing on the oscillators, that data is telling me a story, and that's a hint of the story. I can hear the story a little bit there when I look at it. Let's go check out this though, see if it loaded. It did not load. Yeah, screw you, CoinAnk. Just wanting to give me these heat map levels and it's not giving them to me. I'll see if I can get it to load here in a little bit. But OC, let's kick it over to you. Let's see what you're seeing on copper. Let's talk about gold or whatever you got over there. And then I want to talk about why we may see inflation return and go higher. And it has nothing to do with tariffs. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Stick around, OC. Let's kick it over to you and check out your chart.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at coppers. Here I have two different charts here, and I want to show you that despite one seems to be pumping, they're not that different, right? It all depends just on the scale, not the price, the scale of the movement, right? Nonetheless, let's take a look at first our left area, and this is the CFD's copper for our capital. This is very close to the actual. Let's just bring this up. There we go. And this was our previous analysis. This is the copper futures by comics, and to my right I have the copper metal, copper versus US dollar for PM markets. So let me just get back at where I was explaining you guys that it is not that different, and this is, there we go. If I go to my left, you also see that to my right I have somewhere the same vertical line. All right, so there we go. Look at this high to my left with the little check mark right here. And it's aligning with this other one right down here. If I point out right down here, you also see that we have the same movement in here. And then as we go, we have the same up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down movement in here until we get to the retracement to dynamic reactor. Look at that on that retracement on dynamic reactor right here. We have one candle, one static candle here, while right here we have two moving candles. This usually has to do with the actual contracts in the broker that they have been moving. So I would rather go for this one right here if I'm not trading the contracts, because this could be a speculative movement. Unless I see the same movement being reflected in other brokers, I would say that we could be taking this with a grain of salt. Why? Because right here we could be flagging out, and then if we flag out to my left and then we go up to my right and then we flag the same thing, well, we can start looking for a possible continuation. But as long as I don't flag out or at least go higher to my right, I don't think that we'll have a parity, and most likely this isn't gonna be ended up being a flop or a Bart Simpson like that. All right, so let's be a little bit careful right now on copper. Things are getting heated. I mean, speculation is leading the way, and of course that we could buy the rumor and sell the news, as we always say. But right now I think it's a little bit too soon to start jumping into in here for a long. Let me just get rid of this secondary window and let's have a closer look in this more interesting chart, right, where we have had our analysis. Right here we were expecting a little pull down or carrying a little bit of movement to the upside, then pull back to the dynamic reactor on daily, and then continuing along that trend line. If we go to daily, things haven't changed that much. All right, so we do have, or we should be having, our dynamic reactor, and we have one bullish candle. Instead of the retracement, we had the breakout, which again, this could be a fake out so far. So if this is a fake out and we come back for the dynamic reactor, well, then our analysis will be called successful because we have our next possible re-entry on copper somewhere around 485. So far, copper doing fantastic. Let me touch back on gold and platinum. Gold, remember that I was expecting a flag out in here. 4 hours, we did had a little bit of inverted head and shoulders. We did not broke through, but we kept ranging, which is fine. The only thing that worries me at this point, which is not that bad, it is that right here at the end, we could be having something like a sweep of the lows like that. All right. Yes, it's true that we have a bullish divergence, but that bullish divergence is just a couple candles long. Yes, we do have a reversal, but let's bring up the rest of my indicators. We are bearish by signal, and look at our prime score. We are also below dynamic reactor. And when I start going for support and resistances and I zoom out, or sorry, zoom in a little bit, you'll see that I have more resistances at the top than I have supports at the bottom, which could indicate a possible rejection of this area. which we already have had it, and it was right here. So for me, the logical expectancy move or move to be expecting would be either a double bottoming here in these areas or a sweep of the lows. And you can see that reflected on my alert that I have a 3,203 ish, just to have an earlier notice for a possible continuation to 3,162. This is for gold. Let's go to the daily because there's something interesting happening on the daily. Thank you, honey. And then it is that we are having
You're
a
welcome.
longer flag. Piper says, "You're welcome." All right, so we have a flat topic here so far, and we have a rising resistance, sorry, support right here, right? So technically, this is not a flat top. So we're having a wedge to the upside. That wedge usually ends up breaking to the downside, right? But I want to think that the market, it is perfectly imperfect, right? And we can debate whether this is a flat top or not, right? Flat-ish. And this would be a fake out to trap shorts, right? As we have the breakout, right? Retest and then continuation because of what could be happening in Middle East. Still tariff going out, still possible inflation coming in. So what is the future for gold? And I'm here to tell you the same as always. It is a store of value over time. And by the way, just a quick reminder, we offer a DCA plan of the Piper Academy. So if you're looking for a store of value, we have the best of the best DCA strategy, because it's not just putting money for saving it. It also lets you take some profits, enjoy your money, and then enjoy your value over time, and then also add to your savings as we have some risk band value right there. Let me pass it over to you, Piper, because I think we could start looking into the inflation so we can maybe further understand gold future.
Absolutely. Shout out to All Set joining us in here. French Toaster, I see you. And Alexander G. It doesn't matter what song I reference. She always knows that I'm referencing the song. It's great. I love that lady. Yes, it's Billy Joel. I may be right. I may be crazy. All right, let's go talk about this article. So Monday, I did a hackers class. I do a thing with chart hackers on Mondays and Wednesdays. I got another one today. But on Monday, I like to break down macro stuff and give them just a real picture of what we're looking at on macro. Same stuff I give you guys, but I found this after Monday's show. I wasn't live yesterday, so you guys are getting it today. I apologize. And it's about the inflation rates that we could see coming up here soon. I think it's next week. Yeah, core inflation we're getting next week. Let's jump over here and talk about this. So next week on Tuesday, guys, we're getting core inflation. You can see core inflation rate month over month, core inflation rate year over year. They're expecting it to be higher. This does not necessarily mean that this is coming from the tariffs or anything, or true supply demand economics creating inflation. We actually are going to see a real possibility of inflation boosting by 0.3 percentage points just from the depreciation of the US dollar, because as the dollar continues to drop, the DXY just sinks lower and lower. That is creating a loss of value of the dollar, which equates to inflation. So there's already upward pressure on inflation from tariffs, oil prices, and immigration restrictions. And the chart below shows the impact on inflation of a 10% and a 20% depreciation of the dollar. The bottom line is that we should see inflation move higher over the coming months. That is what the consensus expects, what the Fed expects, and what we expect. And you can see they're talking here in quarter one. Let me bring this in here. There we go. Quarter one, 2026. Guys, they're talking as high as just around a 0.5. So a 0.5% increase on inflation just from the US dollar losing its valuation, weakening. The weakening dollar is creating inflation on its own before we ever get into the other factors. So are we going to see this continuation from Jerome Powell of holding and waiting to see before we actually get rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. That's why I'm leaning more towards October, despite the numbers that we're seeing on September. Again, September currently is telling us that there is a 28% chance of no change. I think that that number goes higher between now and September. And then I think that October is when we see our first one, which currently right now is at a 10.6% chance of no change. And that's really based off of what we're seeing here. What we're seeing here for the US dollar weakening, creating this natural inflation on top of the threats of tariffs and all that. So, OC, your thoughts on this, man? Are we going to see people just continue to get hurt by the weakening dollar and the inflation and the no cut rates and the quantitative tightening ongoing, far beyond what the markets have cooked in right now? Or is this chart wrong and the Fed Reserve is just going to finally break to the pressure and start cutting rates? What's your thoughts on this?
I think that we need to see a little bit more of pain, especially because I also think that we need to have a cut rate. But we know that based on this economy model, right? So all of the fiat economy models that we followed throughout, I would say Western mostly, or all around the globe. Oh, sorry about that. We need factor in retracements, right? Corrections, big corrections. And let me remind you guys that a couple of years ago on December, we were talking about soft landings, right? I do remember that having that class a couple of days before December, talking about that soft landing and jumping into maybe a further bigger, retracement, to say it somehow. Nonetheless, I think that we need to have this. I mean, it's already too late, and we haven't seen any like that. I think we are doing like micro retracements, right? When we kind of like scare people, we don't go that into that pain, which is great. But I think we need a final takeover, and that is going to be, I don't know, maybe before or throughout December. That's what I'm expecting. And that's when we're going to be seeing rate cuts back again, fixing inflation back again, promoting some jobs back again with the same story, right? We have seen this repeat over and over. Hopefully that doesn't go out of hands. And I think we're in a critical global area where none of the countries are actually doing great, but whoever does the less worst will basically came out on top of the economical fight. And I'm talking about China, Russia, Iran, India, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, I don't need to be able to outrun the bear. I only have to outrun one person in the group. So
yes, exactly.
That's what you're saying. What are you seeing on the Dixie chart on the DXY? Are we looking like we're close to a bottom right now, OC? Let's go ahead and pull that up on a high time frame on the DXY and see what, where's the max pain threshold here on the US dollar.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at what we look. Just by opening it up, it seems like this is horrible, right? We are very far off the dynamic reactor, but that doesn't really scare me. In fact, this is what I'm starting looking for, reversal zones, right? What kind of reversals? Look at that. As we have more air between the dynamic reactor and the price action, what I'm looking for, it's kind of like a tilted ranging here, right? Or a wedge that usually breaks to the upside, or then maybe a Wyckoff range with maybe a little spring at the bottom. I cannot deny that this absolutely can become a flat pause of bearish continuation, and that's especially when we have these up-ranging scenarios. Look at the difference between this up-ranging. Let me clear this up. Oh, come on. I don't know what I just clicked. There we go. And where's my pen? Here it is. All right, look at the difference between this kind of like a U. Man, Every time that you play that, I keep singing that into my head over and over and over. It's so hard for me to take it off my head, but I love it. It's pretty awesome. So we have this kind of like a U shape that we usually see on Bitcoin as it goes up, that kind of like an N shape, right, before jumping back up. But the important part it is that we have that up movement or that up ranging, right? And in this case, we have a down ranging here. So far, what I'm seeing here is not only meaningful areas being hit, right? These meaningful areas, it's just a little flat pause in the marketing here. Let me draw a horizontal line so we can see it, so we can see this. I'm going to go between this other pause and this other one, this other pause also right here. And let me just, for good measure, grab these stops. All right. So this is what we got so far manually, and then I'll start throwing my indicators. And what I'm seeing here, it is the first movement as for a possible sweep of the lows in here. Yes, we have not yet broken this trend line. And if we start breaking the trend line and hovering on top of this range, this is going to be a something, or this could become something like a Wyckoff V-shaped recovery. So right now, that's what I'm looking for. We already been at the bottom for a long time. I think it will be good for us to start, at least start tasting the upper zones above the zero line in there. Let me bring up my indicators. And especially now, let me just complete this because we could start having this movement like that, just like we had it on Bitcoin the previous end of the bear cycle. All right. Let me bring up the rest of my indicators. Our quantum reactor is not there because we don't have that volume, of course. Our support, there we go. We have a support area, another support zone. As you can see, we nailed it by looking at these areas right here. What else do we have? We have daily support resistance, again, same zones. So I believe that we are in a very strong area. Let's see if we hold it, because if not, we could be in for a little bit of a more downwards movement, and that could be seen by our predictive ranges signaling this previous W bottom right there. So if we start losing, and I'm gonna say it right here, if we start losing the 95, I think the next target will be 92, 90, yeah, 93, 92 ish zones. So yeah, Dixie not looking that great still. Although, again, let me repeat, I'm looking for bottoming patterns to start catching a possible reversal on Bitcoin, because you see that DXI coming down, Bitcoin going up, Bitcoin coming down, DXI coming up. Usually they have that inverse relationship. And yeah, that's what I got for you, Piper. Let me throw it back to you.
Awesome. Yeah. So keep an eye on the DXY. Another factor of inflation that a lot of people are not talking about at all. Of course, I'm out here digging into the weeds on Apollo research journals. So there you go. That's a reason for inflation right there. It's what this is why you guys tune in, right? So yeah, I do think that we're going to see those numbers on the macro side, the inflation data come out next week. It's going to be pretty harsh, and so will that be another rally point, or will that be a turnaround point for the markets? Yet to be seen, because if inflation's going up and job numbers are staying pretty strong like we're seeing, probably not seeing rate cuts anytime soon. So, and I think a lot of people in the investor world, they're focusing on a September rate cut right now, and I think they're going to, I think there's a good chance they could be wrong, and we're looking at an October rate cut. So I'm going to jump over here real fast and talk about this article, OC, about Ripple. And it's having a little effect on Circle today, too, CRCL stock. So let's go talk about this. Bank of New York Mellon selected as the primary custodian of the Ripple USD reserves. If you guys don't know, Ripple also has a stable coin, and they have also applied for a bank charter. So just like Circle did, they're doing that also. Bank of New York Mellon has been selected to be the primary custodian of Ripple US dollar stablecoin reserves. Ripple, a San Francisco-based digital asset infrastructure company, also creator of XRP, said Wednesday that it has selected New York financial services firm to serve as the primary custodian for the reserves of the RLUSD, a dollar-backed stablecoin that Ripple manages. Stablecoins are typically pegged to a stable currency and store reserves in order to keep a one-to-one exchange ratio in place. RLUSD is designed for enterprise utility, particularly improving the speed, cost, and efficiency of cross-border payments, unlike traditional stablecoins that are now geared more towards retail users. So while they do have a little bit of a different use case, I think a lot of people right now are going, well, why not just buy XRP for my valuation and let that run versus have Circle? And if we jump over, take a look at Circle, we are getting a sell-off this morning. We had a little rally this morning that pumped really good, grabbed liquidity. Guys, look, this thing always comes and grabs liquidity. That which gets wicked gets candlesticked, and then now we have another wick. I'm watching this golden pocket right now, 202.92 to 196.39. That's going to be your 0.66 up to your 0.618 right there. And I'm watching this level for support. I'm going to say that right now, it does look like we're probably going to hit the lower level 196, 198 range. I'm going to probably set an order in to pick up some more Circle on that news. But right now, money flow is starting to turn down on the hourly. We have an oscillator ribbon turning to the downside, and volume is slowing down. And I think a lot of this coming off of, first of all, we hit that liquidity. And then second of all, hey, look, Ripple's trying to encroach on this space here, giving us a little bit of volatility on the CRCL front. I am also seeing here on the hourly, when I look at my oscillator setup, we're coming in right now, dynamic reactor as support. We are below that. We do have a golden band here from the predictive ranges from Chart Prime, and typically this will trade between the two gold bands with your delta median there. If we get a good bounce here at about $200, nice psychological number, might be the better buy-in. And then if it does come down to 196, you're not that far off. You're still inside that zone. And then a return to the delta, hopefully a bounce from there. And would like to see it get back up to 250. This thing did top out right at $300 back here on June 23rd. So don't think that it's over yet. I think this is setting up to be after the sell-off that we had in the initial IPO launch, everyone taking profit, found really solid support at the 786. This is where I told the community this would be the buy point, and you can see this is now set up a bounce of support, another OC retest there, and then it comes in golden pocket support, and now we're in this range. Watch this level again, 196.40 to $200 as a support bounce and creation of a higher low, setting up for a higher high. We've now had the break of structure take place right there. So that's what I'm watching on Circle. OC, how is XRP looking today? Let's take a look at that before we jump over to crypto coin mindset. Let's take a look at that XRP chart, bro.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at XRP. We do have a couple of analysis playing out in XRP. We were expecting both either a retracement or move to the upside. I know. Like, I mean, either it needs to move up or down, but we were explaining the pattern that we were having, right? So most likely a flat top usually breaks to the upside. And well, this was not quite a flat top, but if we extended it, our perspective back in time, we could be looking into a flat top, very weak triangle. Nonetheless, we treat it as a rising wedge with a possibility, and I don't know why did this moved on me, all right, with a possibility for having a breakout. So if we're having this breakout, perfect, let it break out. Let's wait for the retracement as we are having a lower high. We could be maybe making a lower high here, or at least at that double top. And then on the way down for breakout retest, we could be going upwards. So XRP doing fantastic, especially now with the rumor that it's being held on the blue chip ETF from Truth Social that is going to be sent to the FOMC. So we'll see how that goes, because that could be a good rally to buy the rumor and then sell the news. Still, remember, if you're doing that, you're moving with speculation, and that could be susceptible to not really playing out. So you also need to be prepared for the consequences. If we start bringing up our oscillator and indicators, we'll see that we could be having a possible rally up to 2.48 or 2.64 if we have this back at support, giving us somewhere between, let me measure it from here, somewhere between 13.9, so 139 if you're using a 10x, or 66 if you're using, again, a 10x. Again, I don't like to recommend, this is not financial advice, but I don't like to recommend leverage, but I do use leverage. Try to use as less as you can if possible. But yeah, that's what we got on XRP.
Awesome. And I know you got to go. You got a class to do over at Chart Prime. So I appreciate you being here today, man. I'm going to go ahead and head out of here with everybody, guys. Smash that like button. We're heading over to Crypto Coin Mindset, joining T.I. Joe over there and joining Keith. When you guys get over there, drop those graduation caps in the chat. OC, appreciate you, brother. We will see you later on with Trade Live with OC. As always, bro, appreciate you being here. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, smash that like button. Share this with a friend if you got anything out of today's content. Hey, this is the spot to get all your macro updates. Make sure you tune in to catch OC later on today with Trade Live with OC. If you're a chart hacker, we'll see you guys in a little while. And don't forget, tune in Markets After Dark and BC Port Corp with Good Morning Crypto. We'll be back here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, dropping the news, the charts, the markets, the headlines, the macro, whatever you guys need, everything you guys need to give you guys some knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Until next time, guys. Trade safe. Use some risk management. Peace, love, profits. We're out.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after the wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, former Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. Emotional damage. Prime. Then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. Boom shakalaka. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after the wheels fall low. Sound off to get rhythm, the ZTS rhythm. Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my love now, you know what I mean.
You can't handle the truth.
That was awesome, dude.